Good afternoon, kings and queens, gentlemen and ladies. This is Refined Rose back with another video. For those of us that have sons, like I have a son that's going to be 34 years old in June and one that's going to be 26 in October. Very muscular, very fit sons, and they have very good spirits, but they don't take any shit from anybody, especially when it comes down to their loved ones and friends. So when I got with this new husband, my new husband ended up meeting my new sons. And he saw how fit and muscular they are and how well behaved and polite and respectful they are, as they should be, as should his son have been to me. The same respect my son showed to him, his son should have showed me the same respect. But I didn't get that. He was abusive to me just as his father was abusive to me before I went into hiding. So my sixth husband saw how close I was with he's 33 years old now, and my youngest one is 25. So he saw how close we were in relationship, and he knew that he was not going to be able to abuse me freely without anything being said if those sons stayed around, because they would have told people, they would have told family members, they would have told their father, because they both have the same father. They would have told their father, and they probably would have got law enforcement involved and said, hey, my mother's being abused. Even if she tells you she's not being abused, she is. Can you do a welfare check for us? So my husband had to figure out how to get my two boys, my two adult sons, out of the picture. So he started complaining about them being in the picture and how disrespectful he thought my youngest son is or was towards me. My youngest son, I would say, what people would call a mama's boy, but in a good way. They're both independent, my oldest one and youngest one. They were brought up in the military. I'm retired from the Air Force, so they came up in the military and they were taught structure and independent, and both of them are independent. But my youngest son tend to be more closer to me. I don't know if that has to do with me breastfeeding or him being up under me so long for breastfeeding, but he's more of a mama's child, and he's not going to take any shit when it comes to his mom. And my oldest son, he's more of a logical thinker, and my youngest son is more of an emotional thinker when it comes to people that he loves. Let's get this shit squared away right now. So he had to find a way to get them out of the picture. I had a dog named Aspen that I didn't know that he was abusing before I met my sixth husband. I had a Siberian Husky, all white, blue eyes, that he was abusing. But what my kids didn't know is I kept it hush-hush around everybody, mostly due to embarrassment, and thought that I can fix my abuser. But you can't fix someone that's physically abusing you. You just have to let them go and love them from a distance. So not only was he abusing me, he was abusing my Siberian Husky, who I had for like almost 8 years. So, and I only had one vehicle at the time. It's a limited Dodge Ram, and he was using multiple people's vehicles who they wanted their vehicles back. And all he had was a Tamale work van that barely even worked. So many problems, and it wasn't really safe to put it on the road to deliver those tamales, but he did up until he took my truck from me. I'm paying the limited Ram Dodge payments every month. I bought that Dodge Ram like maybe 3.5 years before I met him. So he's taking my vehicle, leaving me out in Terrell with no means to defend for myself. And he's gone sometimes a day or two with my truck, and I have no way to get around. So what happened was I ended up started to ride with him just so I could have a way to get around if I needed to go to my medical appointments and a way to get food. So one particular day, my dog Aspen, I could not get him in the house. And my husband was yelling at me, saying, fuck that F that dog. I'm tired of that MFing dog. And I thought, well, I have to go because I'm hungry. I hadn't eaten anything, and I have to take my medications. I'm a heart patient. So I'm like, okay, Aspen will come back home. He'll be waiting for me. Well, no, Aspen was killed. He was hit by a car and was killed on a dirt road we lived on and was laying in a ditch when we came back. And I was crying and upset. And he said, I never liked that dog anyway. I'm glad he's gone. Y'all, when I tell you that hurted me to the core, it really hurted me to the core. So I had to call my youngest son, who was attached to that dog. That dog was like his brother, and tell him what happened. But I told him everything that happened, but I left out the abuse, and I left out that I was hungry and I had to go and I wouldn't be able to get anything to eat because he was taking my truck from me. So me and my youngest son fell out over the dog. He was calling me an irresponsible dog owner and just going off because he didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle, and he'd probably still be mad because I left the dog there. So long story short, our relationship diminished, and my husband told him to block me because he was using curse words because he's emotional. Like I said, he's an emotional. He acts, he responds with emotions. So my husband said, that's total disrespectful. You need to block him. No son, no adult child should be talking to their mother like that. I don't care what happened. You block him. He needs to come at you correctly. I said, well, I don't think I should block him. He was like, oh, you will block him. And he got into my face. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be pushed, shoved, or head-butted. So I'm going to block him. And so once I blocked that youngest son, my relationship started to dwindle with my oldest son. They don't know how to come to me. I don't know how to come to them. I don't want to tell about the abuse that's been going on. I don't want anything to happen where law enforcement is called and something happens to me or my children if my sixth husband do reverse blaming and claim he's been the victim all this time. So what I'm saying is, don't let our husbands or our wives or our situationships push our kids away from us or turn us against our kids. We have to be careful with that because an abuser or a user will use anything in their arsenal to push or pull us away from our protectors. We should always stay close to our support system. People that lift us up, lift our spirits, people that care for us, and people that loves us. We should never let an abuser isolate us from family and friends. That's their end goal, so they can abuse us with impunity and without anybody knowing about it. And if my sons are listening to this, just know that I love y'all. I will always love y'all. I'm your mother. I'm always going to be your mother. And I apologize for letting this husband get in the way of our relationship and how close we've been all these years. This is Refined Rose out. Bye for now.